Dick McKenna, Arvo Cavaline, and a third man, a Nordic type in an untidy brown suit. "Hi, Jeff," McKenna greeted him as Rand got out of his car and came across the road. "This is Gus Olsen, investigator for the DA's office." "Jeff Rand, Tri-State Agency," he introduced. "Hey!" Olsen yelled. "We've been looking for you. Where you been?" Rand raised an eyebrow at McKenna. "You just came from where we're going," the State Police Sergeant surmised. "Was Gresham at home?" "He was. He's gone now," Rand said. "He and another man are going to help me check up on what's missing from the Fleming collection." "Hey!" Olsen exploded. "What I told you, now. He run ahead of us with a tip-off. Gresham skipped out now." "What is all this?" Rand wanted to know. "What's he screaming about, Mick?" "Like he don't know!" Olsen vociferated. "He tipped off Gresham so's he could skip out. I'll bet he's in it with Gresham." "Pay no attention," McKenna advised. "He doesn't know what the score is. Hell, he doesn't even know what teams are playing." "Now you look here," Olsen bawled. "We'll see what Mr. Farnsworth has to say about this. You're supposed to cooperate with us, not go fraternizing with a lot of suspects. Why, it's plain as anything, him and Gresham's in it together. I bet that was why he come around the first thing in the morning, to find the body." Cavaline, behind the wheel, turned around and began jabbering at Olsen, in the back seat, in something that sounded like Swedish. Most Finns can speak Swedish, and Rand was wishing he could understand it. The corporal's remarks ran to about a paragraph, and must have been downright incendiary. At least Olsen seemed to catch fire from them. He rose in his seat, waving his arms and howling back in the same language. "Shut up, goddammit, shut up!" McKenna bellowed into his face. "Shut up before I sling your ass to hell out of this car. I'm talking, and I don't want any goddamn jaw from you, Olsen. You either," he barked at Cavaline, winking at him at the same time. Silence fell with a heavy thump in the car. "Well, now that the international crisis seems to have been averted, how's about letting me in on it, too?" Rand asked. "For instance, what about Gresham? What's he supposed to be a suspect for?" Olsen suspects him of chopping Rivers up," McKenna replied wearily. "See, we questioned this Cecil Gillis, and he told us that last evening, as he was leaving Rivers, he saw Stephen Gresham drive up and go into the shop. I wanted to talk to him, myself. I thought he might account for the cigar ashes and the drink fixings on that table. But when Farnsworth heard about the killing, he sent Olsen around. And when Olsen heard that Gresham had been there, he tried him and convicted him on the spot." "Oh, obscenity! Is that what it's about?" Rand exclaimed in disgust. "Yes, Gresham told me about that. He didn't have the drink, and he wasn't smoking a cigar in the shop. And he left a little after 9. He got home at 9:22. I can testify to that myself. I was there at the time, and so were 7 other people." Rand named them. "They dribbled away at different times during the evening, but Philip Cabot and I stayed till around 11. He mentioned the approximate time at which the others had left. "What time was Rivers killed, or hasn't the time been fixed?" "The M.E. says around 10 to 2, McKenna said. "He could be wrong; them guys only guess half the time," Olsen argued. "And besides, Gresham had it in for Rivers. And that ain't all, neither. He knew how to use a bayonet, too. I seen him myself during the war, showing the Home Guard how to do it, just the way Rivers was killed," he produced triumphantly. McKenna used the dirty word. "So what? Anybody who's ever had infantry training knows that butt stroke and lunge," he retorted. "I learned it myself when I was a kid, in 24 and 25, in CMTC. Hell, anybody who's ever seen a war movie. If you hadn't lambed out of Sweden when you were 16 to duck conscription, you'd have known it, too." "Well, maybe Olsen or his boss can explain why Gresham threw those record cards in the fire," Rand contributed. "You know why Olsen says Gresham had it in for Rivers? Rivers sold Gresham a fake antique, a flintlock Navy pistol that had been worked over into something else. Gresham was going to subpoena those records when he brought suit against Rivers," Rand lied. "But I can explain why Cecil Gillis might have destroyed them after killing Rivers, if he'd been cheating Rivers and Rivers caught him at it." "Yeah, and that might explain why Gillis was in such a hurry to sic us on to Gresham, too," McKenna added. "I thought of something like that. And this highbrow girl that works for Rivers says that Gillis and Mrs. Rivers played all kinds of games together when Rivers was away." "Well, who's in charge of the investigation?" Rand wanted to know. "I heard on the radio." "You're liable to hear anything on the radio, including slanders on Bing Crosby's horses. But for the record, I'm in charge of this investigation. And don't anybody forget it, either," he added, in the direction of the rear seat. "That's what I thought. Well, Stephen Gresham has just retained me to make an independent investigation," Rand said. "It is not that he lacks confidence in the State Police, or in you. He is afraid that other parties might get into the act and try to make political capital out of it, which appears to have happened." "Well, if Gresham retained you, I'm satisfied," McKenna said. "You can take care of that end of it. Glad you're in with us." "Well, I ain't satisfied," Olsen began yelling again. "And Mr. Farnsworth won't be neither. Why, this here Private Dick is like as not working for the very man that killed Rivers." McKenna turned slowly in his seat to face Olsen. "One time, 10 years ago," he began, "Jeff Rand had a client who was guilty of the crime he hired Jeff to investigate. It was an arson case. This guy set fire to his own factory and then got Jeff to run down a lot of fake clues he'd planted. I know about that. I was on the case myself. That's where I first met Jeff, and he saved me from making a jackass out of myself. And what happened to this guy who'd hired Jeff was something that oughtn't to happen even to Molotov. And it happened because Jeff fixed it to happen. If anybody hires Jeff Rand, he's one of two things. He's either innocent, or else he's out of luck. I don't know why the hell I bothered telling you this." 10 to 2, you say?" Rand considered. "Look, a couple of days ago, Rivers put out a new price list to his regular customers. A lot of them, in different parts of the country, order by telephone, and some of them live in the West, where there's a couple of hours time difference. One of them, calling at, say, 8 o'clock local time, would get his call in at 10 Eastern Standard. If you check the long-distance calls to Rivers' number last night now, you might get something." "Yeah, and if he took a call after 9:22, that would let Gresham out. Even Farnsworth could figure that out. Sure, I'll check right away." "Who's at Rivers now?" "Skinner and Jameson, of our gang, and Farnsworth and some of his outfit. And the hell's own slew of reporters, of course," McKenna said. "Arvo's going back there in a little. We're still trying to locate Mrs. Rivers. We haven't been able to yet. The maid says she went to New York day before yesterday. I'll probably be around at Rivers later in the day. I want to check on that Fleming angle." "Uh-huh. I'll be there in half an hour," Corporal Kavaalen said. "Be seeing you." They exchanged so longs, and Kavaalen backed and made a U-turn, moving off in the direction of Rosemont. Olsen's voluble protests drifted back as the car receded. Rand returned to his own car and followed. End of chapter 12.